Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick is here, but he's not actually here, but I promise he is here. He's just not at... Oh, there he is. Welcome back, Dennis. Anyway, on today's show, our guest is Joel Kulina. He is a head of technology and media trading at Wedbush Securities. He would join us at 8:35, but it is a Monday, which means we have more vaccine news. That will be the lead story throughout the day today. AstraZeneca from this morning, Regeneron from over the weekend. So we'll talk about that and the rotation that's causing this morning. We've had some tight trading action the last couple of weeks. Joel, why don't you walk us through that? How are we doing here in the overnight trading session as I unmute your mic here?
Good morning, Spencer. Good morning, everyone. We closed on Friday, got right near the low for the week, but things turned around on a dime, opened up right in the 35.40 handle, pre-market high 35.80, pair of highs just above that at 82.5, 82.75, currently up 20.75 handles. Crude working its way to the top of the trading range, up 60 cents at 43.02. Gold in the red again today, down $6 at 1866.40. Also, silver in the red by 29 cents at 24.095. And Bitcoin, let's just call it up $5 at 18,690. Let's bring in Triple D here, and we'll start out with some trivia right away.
Oh my! Not a Monday morning, Joel.
Yes.
You know I suck at trivia. You're trying to ruin my Monday.
It's very easy.
Oh,
it's very
easy for me in trivia. I'm like the anti-Jeopardy player. I get like one Jeopardy question right a year, so this is not for me. Okay. Anyways, give it to me.
Okay, so I was looking and I was thinking, it's just another vaccine Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Who sings It's Just Another Manic Monday? You know the song? Come on.
Cyndi Lauper.
Nope.
It's not.
Spencer.
Just another manic Monday. I should know that.
Sorry, no.
I thought it was Cyndi Lauper.
The Bangles.
It's the Bangles, eh? Sounds like Cyndi Lauper. I was close.
Yep.
It's the Bangles.
Yeah, look at the chat. Boy, our chat.
The Bangles, they're all over it. We got a lot of 80s fans here. You know what? I'm an 80s fan too. I'm surprised I got that one wrong. That was actually, I think it was just too early in the morning. I should have thought of the Bangles. My brain cells aren't firing on all cylinders here yet. It's too early.
So they're picking up. The chat's picking up right where they were on Friday here, being
chat's hot.
Yeah, they're hot. They're hot for look at that. They're still going here. Once again, I hope no one is driving and on a mobile device because that is not good. But we close on Friday. Dennis, did you get nicked on anything? That was kind of was it too orderly for you to do good?
I got a couple of gap downs. MasterCard I bought on the close, and they were good. Anything you got was good. MasterCard, you can see, really ran down the last 5 minutes on the selling imbalance. I had the LOC out there, limit on close, so filled in the closing print. 323 buy. I flipped it out after hours though. I think around 324. So I was able to flip it out fast.
You want to talk about that order type for a second here, Dennis? Because
the way to participate is if you're going opposite side. So so limit on close order, LOC, MOC. They're cut from the same cloth. The LOC dictates your price. The MOC is market on close, saying fill me no matter what. And MOC is always filled as long as it's in before the cutoff time. Cutoff times for MOCs on NYSE are 350 unless you're going against the imbalance, and then you can send them. I don't remember. I think it's like maybe it gets towards the end. You can almost go towards the end if you're going against the imbalance. What that means is if there's a huge sell imbalance, the NYSE is advertising saying, "Look, we got a huge seller on the close. We need some help. Provide some liquidity." I'm a liquidity provider. I will provide liquidity, hoping to get paid because if the stock gaps down because it's a big seller, I'm getting filled in the closing print and hoping it comes up a little bit from there, which is exactly what it did on Friday after the close. So I send LOCs typically, especially on the third Friday of the month. I'll have an algorithm that'll send out a bunch of them and try to, participate in some of these closing prints. If they're weak, it'll buy. If they're strong, it'll sell. And typically what happens if I get filled on a bunch of longs, I'll hedge it out against the SPY. And then I'm hoping the alpha I'm trying to extract is from the seller who was just maybe selling too low relative to where the S&Ps were trading. But the S&Ps sold off on Friday too, remember? Although I don't think they sold off as hard as MasterCard sold off. So that was one of the only ones I got. But there's a lot of stocks that are pretty weak. So starting with the order types Monday morning here, it's a pretty difficult conversation to start if you just
That's okay.
In. But
That's okay.
I mean, these are tools that are available to you. I don't know if Robinhood has those tools available. Interactive Brokers definitely does. A lot of your retail brokers, ask them. Limit on close orders. Do you have those?
And what time does it have to be in at? What time?
NYSE's got to be in by 3:50. But so 10 minutes before the close, unless you're offsetting the imbalance, then you can send it farther. So.
All right, one more question or one more comment here. At Bright, we did a lot of New York stocks, and that was because of the designated market maker. Things have changed. Are you split now between New York or in NASDAQ?
I trade it all.
Yeah,
it's just a different. They trade a little bit different. I mean, NASDAQ, your imbalances, you can put them in. A lot later, and in the morning, it's set up different too. Like I've already said, if you're looking at imbalances in the morning, you don't get your NASDAQ imbalances till 9:28. You get your New York Stock Exchange imbalances already. Like I can look right now this morning and see Pfizer, which has a buy imbalance every single day, 326,000 to buy in Pfizer here this morning. So that's saying at the open right now, there's more buyers than sellers. Taiwan Semiconductor, 99,000 to buy. So you can already see that information. NASDAQ field is just blank for those stocks. It's 0 because NASDAQ doesn't publish it till 9:28. And the NASDAQ closes the auction at 9:28 in the morning, where NYSE does not. So they just trade slightly different. The exchanges handle the orders just a little bit differently, but there's still edges in both. I mean, this is why at 9:28 in the morning, you'll see violent moves on NASDAQ stocks because we have an opening indication price and we have opening imbalances coming out. So all of a sudden you'll see, Microsoft tank 50 cents. Well, what just happened? Well, it probably came out, with an opening indication price much lower than it was trading pre-market and probably had a significant sell imbalance knocking it down. So, this is all stuff that edges, that we try to use at Bright Trading. We try to, obviously you can use these at retail brokers as well if you're familiar with it. But I mean, this is, information where a lot of people aren't paying attention to. So there's an edge in this information.
All right, let's bring in Mr. Israel and same Monday scenario here.
Just before we do it, just one more question. Somebody just to close the subject. People are asking, where do you get this information? I mean, a lot of your platforms, if you're trading on a free platform, you might not get this information. You get what you pay for. So I don't know if Robinhood has it. I've never even seen the Robinhood platform. So I highly doubt it, though. I mean, it's free. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. If you're a Robinhood trader and you have opening and closing imbalances, let me know. I know a lot of retail platforms do not carry it, though. I know Interactive Brokers does. That's one retail platform that does carry that information. You can subscribe to it through different services, through the NYSE, through the NASDAQ. It's expensive. And the imbalance, carrying that imbalance feed is very expensive for the broker dealers too. And that's why a lot of your retail brokers probably can't afford to pay for that information. But I mean, that's where you get what you pay for, right? Like I'm paying a lot of money every month for quotes, for everything else. So, I'm dropping, $2,000 to $3,000 worth of, money into information, news services, quotes. I cut a check to the NYSE. I cut a check to the NASDAQ. I cut a check for all these things. But that's what gives me an advantage over somebody else. It's a level playing field. If you want that information, you got to go to a broker that carries it.
All right, we're still going. What determines what exchange you need to put opening orders in on? If a stock is listed on NASDAQ, can I do an opening? Well, you can't do an
opening. If you put it on the wrong exchange,
you're not going to get it.
No, you know what happens? You get a real bad fill sometimes. So you got to really be careful with that. Sometimes those brokers will take that order. And if there's nothing there, let's say you put an order on a NASDAQ stock to open, on and NYSE, I think will just kick it back, but they're eventually going to do them too. But if there's less liquidity there, you might actually buy at a really bad price. So you got to be careful with that. You got to make sure you send on the right exchange. IB is nice, and Interactive Brokers, and I do have an Interactive Brokers account as well. It will do it for you. Just put opening or their opening. I forget what they call it there. Limit close or whatever they call it. And it'll figure that part out for you. But on my prop account, I could physically put it on the wrong account, like the wrong exchange, and it would actually not kick it back. The order would go in, and I might actually get filled on a really bad. Like if you put a NASDAQ opening price on a New York stock, there'll be an opening cross on the NASDAQ, which isn't going to be pretty. So you could actually get filled at a really bad price. You got to be careful with that. It's a good question. You got to be really careful with that.
Yeah, that was edge seeking.
Know what exchange your stock trades on. I mean, it used to be simple. Years ago, it was 3 symbols with NYSE, 4 symbols with NASDAQ. They don't do that anymore. So, I mean, my platform tells me as soon as I bring up the stock in my montage, it's got in the corner what exchange it's trading on. So I know like what the primary exchange. I mean, they trade on all 12 exchanges, but what's the primary exchange? What's the listing exchange? That's what you need to know. You know what? If you don't know, you can always Google it too. You could just go like quickly type in Google, go like Microsoft listing exchange, and I bet you it'll tell you. Microsoft listing. We know it's NASDAQ, but let's see what Google kicks back on this. Microsoft listing exchange. And yeah, you can see right at the top on the Google thing, NASDAQ, NSDAQ, listing exchange, Microsoft. So it'll tell you. So you can quickly just do a Google search and it'll probably get most of them too.
I got a little triple D-itis this morning. I keep going on tangents here, but just
Tangents
from
are
the
good.
chat,
That's how you learn.
because we mentioned Robinhood all the time. Could you put in the chat if you're on the Robinhood platform, and 2 if you're on Webull? Because I'm just
or just 2 if you're on 1 if you're on Robinhood, because I think we got some Robinhood traders, and 2, I don't know how many Webull traders. Yeah, you can put 2 if you want.
They're probably not. Yeah, there are a few other platforms.
3 if you're on something else. So 1 for what are we doing? 1 for Robinhood, 2 for Webull, 3 for something else.
Yeah, and we're talking about like a free trading platform. We're not talking about like the conventional.
Wow. Okay, so we got
there's some 3s, there's some 1s, there's some 2s. It's very mixed. I mean, if you're new to trading, these free platforms are excellent because you can learn for free. I mean, that's unbelievable. You know, you can get down and dirty and buy and sell stocks for free. So those are good. Once you get more advanced, once you get further in, and you're becoming like a professional, like you're becoming an active day trader where you're trading actively. You're making 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 trades. Even if you're making 5, 10 trades a day, you might want to look into something else. You know, you might want to pay for a service, you know, like, and some of them are bad. I mean, Interactive Brokers, like I said, and I talk Interactive Brokers up all the time because I think it's a fantastic, I own the stock too, but I think it's a fantastic platform. It's a little more advanced. It's not as simple to use. So you got to know there's all the tools are there though, which I think is unbelievable that, you know, IB can have all the tools that most of the prop firms have. So it's there, the IB professional, not the IB retail. So you got to go to IB Pro, and then you got to pay a little bit. You know, it's not as free. The commissions are there if you're on IB Pro. I doubt on the IB Lite. I don't know if they have all those toys, but they give you at least an option. It's nice. You know, maybe they should come out with Robinhood, you know, a light version, and then one if you want to pay commissions, you gotta, you know, you get a little bit more information. I mean, maybe that's not a bad idea for Robinhood to do too. Robinhood Pro, because what Interactive Brokers does is IB Lite, which is their free trading platform, and IB Pro, which is you still pay commissions, but you're getting a lot more information. You're getting a lot more stuff. And then if you're designated like a pro, I'm not even eligible for IB Lite because I have a license. So I cannot physically, if I apply to Interactive Brokers, they will automatically put me in pro because they want to charge me for that because I have a trading license. So it's, you know, they want their fees. Remember, Joel, you went through this. They were trying to designate you pro, and they were trying to move you. What was it with
why we move on?
Joel doesn't want to talk. But anyways,
let's move on from this. No, great information. We got that chat. It's hard to look at it when there's that many messages going. But okay. Take 2. Spencer, give us some vaccine news.
I'm here. Yep. So it started over the weekend. We got the Regeneron news that the Regeneron cocktail got the emergency use authorization from the FDA. Not a surprise there. And then, as I mentioned, it's a Monday, which means we have to get another vaccine headline. And that's what we got this morning. The Oxford AstraZeneca trial, they reported some results from their phase 3. Varying results based on dosing schedules. The takeaway is that the average efficacy is around 70%. Some tests went as high as 90% efficacy, some were as low as 62%. But the bottom line is this will likely get approved anyway. There is an advantage too that this vaccine, unlike the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, does not have to be kept in cold storage. Therefore, it's easier to distribute. So I don't think anyone is too held up on the efficacy rate right now. These are all going to market eventually.
I mean, it's somewhat, obviously this is good news, but it's unbelievable. You look, this is the third week in a row. It's like Groundhog Day here. So if you bring up the SPY, obviously 2 weeks ago today, we had the good vaccine news from Pfizer, and the market gapped up. The reopening stocks gapped up significantly, Zoom and Peloton gapping down. Then they kind of, leaked all week, and they never reclaimed those gains. And then last Monday, we had the positive news from Moderna, and we gapped up on the reopening stocks again. And obviously, like I said, I sold into that gap a lot of my reopening plays because I had anticipated we were going to get more good vaccine news. And we knew the Moderna trial was coming, and it did. So I booked a lot, but I kept a little bit. Now, then the reopening stocks leaked all week. And now it's the same thing again. We gap up on Monday morning vaccine news on the reopening stocks. I mean, I don't know. Can it play out the same way that they're going to leak all week? I don't know. I think eventually, though, these reopening stocks are actually going to catch a sustainable bid. And that's why I've been on board with, starting to get the barbell approach and start getting a few of these stocks in your portfolio because I think reopening is coming. And that's why I've been dead set against it. And I said it and I'll say it again. A stock like Zoom and Peloton had it okay. Zoom gapped down on the Monday and ran up all week. Then it gapped down on the Monday and ran up all week. Now it's gapping down again because it's moving opposite to the vaccine news. I just think we're coming where there's light at the end of the tunnel here. And I just think Zoom, there's so much crowded money there. I still think that, trading whatever 50, 60 times sales, I don't think it's going to be as used a year from now as it is today. I think there's still going to be a lot of people using and obviously using Zoom, and I'm going to continue to Zoom, and we're going to continue to use Zoom. But I think there's going to be some business as usual. So I think it takes a hit. So I still think you're in the environment where Zoom is as good as it gets. I don't think it's going to get this better for Zoom and for Peloton. Same story. So I think as we start to reopen stuff, I tend to think that these stocks could continue to give back some of these ridiculous valuations they're trading at. So I don't know. I don't know going forward because we can't predict what the next headline is going to be. And like I said, if somebody dies in one of these trials or something, that would be a serious concern. But I think if you don't have any reopening stocks in your portfolio, I'm not buying the day they're gapping up. But, if you get a leak Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like we did last week, I think you start nibbling. I think it's time to start nibbling and not be all tech. That's what I'm basically getting down to. I don't want to be all tech anymore.
What about this Regeneron? I haven't looked at this chart in a while. Topped out back in July, and it's had nothing but good news, but this has gone nothing but down. We've lost
Gilead part 2. I mean,
Regeneron
is not Gilead, so it's a better company because you know how much I hate Gilead. But I mean, all of these vaccine plays / this is obviously a therapy play have, had the good news kind of priced in. And every time they get a pop on more good news, it's just more sellers. This has been the story. Pfizer, we talked about it the day on the Monday when it gapped up, and then it gave you the second chance the next day. I mean, that was a huge selling opportunity. It gave it all back. Gilead's been the same story. It was the one that first started this trend. Every time we get something positive, it would disappear, it would gap up, and then it would give it back. So, I mean, you look at all the vaccine plays. AstraZeneca, is another one. It hasn't performed well.
That's in the red today.
Yeah, because you got other companies that are, and then you got obviously Moderna, which is, it's trying to hold on. And Moderna's, this is more important to them than it is to Pfizer and it is to some of these other ones. And it's a smaller company. So it's understandable to a certain extent. But then Novavax, too. And Novavax probably going to come out with some good news at one point in time. It's probably going to pop on the good news because all these vaccine plays seem to be working. So it probably comes out. I don't know. Do we have a timeline for when Novavax is going to report their trial results, Spencer?
No, I actually have not heard anything about that. Let me look into that real fast.
I mean, it's sitting down here, and maybe it gets a nice 10, 15, 20-point pop. Maybe it's a play to buy it here when it's sleepy and not doing anything. But I think long-term, I think a lot of the good news has already been priced into these. I don't think Novavax going back to 180. I don't think it may never do it. Again, everybody's calling me out, even Jeremy Newsom, when I said Zoom will never make a new all-time high again. I should never say never, but
it's a long time.
My point, he's wants to make a bet with me. Well, I bet you eventually makes a new all-time high. Well, I'm like, well, I can't make that bet because I can never win it because all time will never end. So the only way is you only win on a bet like that. There's no way to say, I can't make a binary bet on stock will never make a new all-time high. What's the timeline for it? It has to be a timeline because all time we'll all be dead and Zoom could still be going. So
just special preview. Jeremy's coming on the show tomorrow. Sorry,
excellent.
Spencer.
So we can talk to Zoom and we'll get his. I think that Jeremy's still bullish Zoom, so that's good to have different opinions. That's why we have a market.
To answer your Novavax question, they said a month ago that sometime in Q1. So we're not there yet. I know.
Okay. So it may announce early. You never know. Everybody's there. You know, these smaller companies are really excited, and if they get some positive results, they'll probably announce it. I wouldn't want to be short Novavax because now at 86, right. I hated at 140, and everybody gave me heat. It's 86 now. Now it's at a point where I probably don't want to be short it. But you know, I don't think I'm necessarily, you know, timing it's going to be everything, and I don't know if I necessarily just want to be long it either. I think I'm kind of neutral to it here. So if I had my paper trade, I was selling up at 140 when I was bearish, and I would be covering it here today probably. And you know, and I think long term it does eventually go lower, but I think there's a potential that this could have some spike eventually from positive vaccine data, and it'll have a significant spike if it gets positive data. Smaller company.
J&J is working on something too as well.
But again, J&J, that's meaningless for them. It's like Pfizer.
So
and, you know, J&J does so much stuff. I mean, it's worth $1 or $2, and if it pops $1 or $2, it's probably a fade. So, you know, it's more to Moderna, it's more to Novavax because they're like the one-trick ponies. And if the trick works out, that's, you know, you got all your eggs in one basket. Stock's gonna go up a lot more than Johnson & Johnson, which is doing a bazillion things.
Okay, Spencer, we're not going to interrupt you this time.
Oh no, that's fine. I had nothing really.
No, are they charging for these vaccines? I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, they're giving them away. I mean, is it just for brand? I mean, have we got to the bottom of that? I mean, I've heard that a lot of the vaccines, or maybe I didn't hear. I mean, is it going to be that?
I think some people are going to end up paying and some people aren't. I don't think we know yet. I don't think they know yet.
Are you going to take it right away, Joel, when it's available? Are you going to just go out there and right away, like, you know, like Josh Brown says, can take it and then go to the movies and say, haha, suckers?
Well, since I signed up for a trial that I got rejected,
so you probably are.
Yeah.
Rejected.
Joel's going to go in on the trial. He is guinea pig in this thing.
Yeah. No, no.
What about you, Spencer? Are you going to wait a little bit till Joel? We'll wait and see what happens to Joel.
No,
I'm waiting to see what happens to Joel.
I bet what they'll do. I bet what they'll do is they'll come out at like a few weeks into it, and they'll say, "Hey, X amount of people will have taken it. X percentage of the population has received it and taken it." And I just want to see what those initial numbers are. And I'm not going to be the first one in line. I might be like the 1,000th person in line, but I'm not going to be the first one. You know what I mean?
Spencer, I thought you were going to get the Sputnik. I thought you were going to
get
Sputnik.
Are you taking it, Mitch?
I had a Sputnik this weekend.
Mitch is going to get Sputnik.
Sign me up for the Sputnik.
Sputnik. Okay. Another poll in the chat. 1, are you taking the vaccine as soon as it's available? 2, are you waiting for Joel? So basically, 1, are you taking it right away as soon as it's available to you? 2, are you going to wait?
Just wait. I'll wait a little bit.
I think I'm almost a 2.
I'll take it, but I'll wait. I'm not gonna be the first one there, like I said. All right.
But the thing is, do you have to leave your house?
There's a lot of twos there, man.
To get the vaccine. Will they
twos.
come to your house? Maybe I can get Lisa to bring one home from the office or something, because that's important.
A lot of twos.
I know.
All right, 8:24. We're gonna have Joel Kulina on from Wedbush Securities in about 10 minutes. Where should we go here? Let's go to the movers of the morning, which is, I mean, a lot of the same stocks we've been talking about ad nauseum here. Blink is up 13% again this morning. Switchback Energy, SBE, is up. AYRO. These are all EV names, and they're all up again.
This EV trade just doesn't even go. Like, you get the reopening, and EV still goes. EV just goes up on reopening. It's the only sector that goes up on reopening days and up on lockdown days. EV just goes up. Man, these stocks. NEO's back up there, man. It's unbelievable. Like, I know, we were poo-pooing it, and, it does seem insane that it's worth more than General Motors, but, I mean, the trend is your friend here. I don't want to be short NEO, I'll tell you that much. This thing's, like, shrugged off the earnings. It had a little lull afterwards, and, now it's catching. It looks like it's ready to go again. I mean, seriously, NEO looks like it's ready to go again. Let's see what it does at the all-time high, 54.20. That's going to be your next test, but takes that out. I mean, the golden rule, don't be short stocks making new all-time highs.
First, you got to deal with you're opening right into Friday's high. So keep an eye on that first before you worry about the all-time high. 50.59. That was your high from Friday. Your all-time high, as Dennis mentioned, that was up at 54.20. Another number I like to keep an eye on is the all-time closing high. That was made Friday at 49.26. That's where the big boys are marked. And I talked about this quite a bit after it got Andrew lefted and Citron, whatever you want to use, whatever vernacular, and it put in a double bottom. The day that he came out with his report was here, and then the next day they got it to 41.10, I believe. So until you take that level out, Bulls firmly in control of NIL.
Fubo, they're saying in the chat here, Mitch, your Fubo is still going. I am still long a piece. I've more than doubled my money. Thank you, Mitch.
Nice.
I think it was in a month. So, I mean, it's nice to double your money in a month. I definitely have had some great picks from Mitch. And when this coronavirus goes away, I'm taking you out for a steak dinner, Mitch, just because you've given me some really good picks.
You owe me one.
What are your thoughts
Dennis?
here?
You already owe him one from.
Oh, I know I owe him a lunch.
You got lucky at it. Well,
you're
going to
get upgraded to a steak dinner. I was actually factoring that out to Joel. So Joel is supposed to owe you the lunch because you both are in the U.S. I can't even go. I could send you Uber Eats.
You could fly here.
I'm literally taking you out for steak dinner. He's giving us some great picks there. So I hope some other people made money off Mitch too.
One thing I'd mention, Fubu already rocketing off. Another one that I'd mention, CRSR. But I want to take a step back here.
Yeah.
And mention a stock that Spencer actually had at one point. I think that's getting ready to get ready for liftoff again. And that's Helion.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing.
HYLN. Watch that chart. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it today. If I could see big volume go through that $28 level, that'll really get me excited.
That's the Nikola chart the reason I bought Nikola. I was looking for EV plays that haven't gone, and I'm long Nikola. I'm still long Nikola with a target of 30 on it, but I may up that target if it's starting to consolidate here. I like the Helion chart here too. So I know it's up $1.50 this morning. Maybe it gives you a shot. Is it concerning that it's a laggard, Mitch? I mean, sometimes you think, oh, why hasn't it gone yet? But I mean, I like the chart too. It looks sleepy. What are your thoughts just on the other side that you could say, oh, well, it hasn't gone. All these other plays have gone. Why hasn't it gone?
I can take a look at a lot of them. What happened was before merger, there was no evaluation. So once the merger goes through, I think what ends up happening is you get kind of this topping effect because, of course, now valuations come into play, and then revenue actually matters. It's no longer just the board, and then they try to find a level where investors can really get underneath and create that underneath supply. I think that level was around that $22 price point. So I think if that holds now, you're definitely going to have some supply and some investors underneath you, and that's what I always look for.
Look at the monthly here. I mean, if you were so inclined to look at this thing just on a monthly basis, I wonder if I put this in before. Look at that. All these monthly lows lining up. That's a sign of the big boys coming to play. A monthly low 1784, monthly low 1871, monthly low at 1809, and a monthly low at 1821. That's where the big boys were playing. So
that's support.
Yep, support is support until it's taken out.
I think it's sleepy too. I think it could get a little bit of I don't know what the short interest is here, but this could go. So I'm not in it, no position. I kind of want to be in it. All right. So we did the EVs. We did Fubo. Let's Mitch, just before we let you, obviously you're always in the background anyway, so we don't ever have to let you go. But is there anything else on your radar?
Well, I'll definitely kind of be watching some of the Chinese stocks. I know Spencer mentioned to watch those, but if you look at some of the SPACs, there's one that's going off crazy, GMHI. This is one we actually mentioned on the SPACs Attack show.
Oh, man, wait, I owned this one, I think.
There you go,
What
Spencer,
is this one? I don't know what this is. What is
it? No. I didn't make money on this.
How did you not make money on this?
Wait, I don't. I'm checking if this is the one. It may not be. There's so many.
Gores? Is this Tom Gores?
What I could say is watch the SPACs Attack if you want this information. It starts today at 11.
What time is SPAC
Check it
Attack?
out, guys. Check it out, 11 Eastern. We go over through all these stocks. We have a great watch list. I think the whole watch list is green today, just to give you an idea, guys. There's like 15 stocks on here, and they're all green, every single one. So I can tell you guys, join the SPACs attack. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, GMHI. That was the one that's merging with the the other Peter Thiel company, right? The Peter Thiel backed company, Luminar. Yeah, I traded this one and
what does Luminar do?
Does it matter?
It's
Is
AI.
it EV?
No, it's like AI.
Oh, that's good too. That's another
I'll take
buzzword.
one more second.
AI, EV. If you got 2 letters and it means something, it's pretty cool. AI, EV. Those things go.
Got my
DB, Deutsche
Christmas tree
Bank.
ready, guys.
Oh,
Got the
sorry.
Christmas tree ready. I definitely want to give a shout out
I
before I
love
get
the
out of
Christmas
here
tree.
to happy holidays to everybody. I know we've had a rough year, so I definitely want everyone to have the best holiday they can have.
And
So that could be like a Christmas card right there. Just Mitch right there, saying with the Christmas tree in the background. Man, that's your Christmas card right there, Mitch. Looking good, buddy.
I thought that was a Hanukkah bush.
It could be.
I'll put some candles on it for you, Joel.
There you go. Joel wants some candles on the Christmas
All right,
tree.
just real quick here. The S&Ps, we hit 3580. Thursday's close, and then Thursday's, Friday's highs 3582 and a half, 3582.75. So right there, I mean that's a level. That's a really big area this morning. Now I'm going to be keeping an eye on. If we can't press through there, get into the 3590 handle, I'm looking for just a repeat of the last 2 Mondays here.
I don't see why in the market, I think you don't try to buck the trend. And we've discovered a very good trend here. The gap up Monday on the reopening plays and the leak all week. And the gap up Monday and the leak all week. The gap up Monday. I'm not buying on the gap up Monday because I don't know if the leak all week is coming. I said eventually that might change. But I'm not buying on the gap up Monday because that's what's happened the last 2 Mondays. You've been burned.
Okay, and also you weekly options traders here, don't pay up too much premium because you have a shortened week. We have the markets are obviously closed on Thursday, Friday. Dennis, you're doing the show solo Thursday, right? Right? Because you don't have.
I had to work Canadian Thanksgiving, so I get the American Thanksgiving off. I like to watch football as well, Joel.
Maybe the Lions will score this. They didn't score on Sunday, but
we won't talk about that.
All right, so let's move on. We got our guest coming on.
You should be happy because Michigan actually won.
Don't remind me. I had to stay up. I had to stay up so much past my bedtime. I was unbelievable.
He's still grumpy. He wins and he's still grumpy.
Triple
he's like,
overtime.
It was only Rutgers.
Rutgers. Oh my gosh, Piscataway, New Jersey. Oh man. Anyway, Spencer, rein us in here.
What is with the New Jersey hate this morning? All right,
Spencer.
PSA. I'm writing down a bunch of tickers in the chat. We'll get to those. Actually, let's do 1 or 2 now.
I do want to early ticker time.
I want to mention real fast. Speaking of upcoming catalyst stocks that Mitch was watching, I'm watching PayPal and Etsy this morning. Both of those companies have investor presentations today. Today's the 23rd, right? So investor presentations today. PayPal and Etsy. I have those on my radar. Let's do one from the chat that I wrote down earlier in the show. Peloton. I've not looked at the chart. I don't, but it's
big family discussion. She doesn't want to.
She won't let you sell.
No.
Got the bike. You got to hold the stock
because she's thinking that how quickly are people going to be going back to the gym. Right?
Oh, it's not happening quickly, but the market price. Did you tell the market usually prices 6 months
she
out?
Doesn't. She
doesn't believe in that.
Should care.
You know what? I don't know if I believe in that either. Half the time. So she got a point. I think that's still unproven, that theory that the market price is 6 months out. I mean, the companies are fine. Zoom and Peloton still firing on all cylinders. I just think there's a lot of good news priced in there. That's why I wouldn't want to own them. But you know what? I had Peloton. I've had Zoom a couple times too. And it's just got, the valuation thing got nuts for me. But again, you shouldn't worry about valuation if the story is still intact. So if you believe the story is still intact, the stocks can definitely go higher. Jeremy Newsom, if you're listening, that would be, an argument for Zoom. The story is still intact. I'm just worrying that if we all reopen, that the story will come on not intact or cool off significantly.
Couple good workouts on it this weekend, and I've been.
What do you do on it? So what? You just bike in, you're watching somebody yelling at you, say, "Go, Joel, go, faster, faster." I don't know. I've never been on I've never even seen one other than on TV.
There's a lot of different instructors, right? And so you can choose your instructor. Also, the timing of it, you can join a live class so you can compete with people, right? So you can move up and down the leaderboard.
So if I get a Peloton, you could compete against me. You could see
I have
me
not done
biking.
that yet, but yeah, we
You
could.
can? That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, that's pretty cool. And
So
then
maybe I'll order a Peloton now.
and they can do
Wintertime.
you can do music, different music genres. But what I like to do is like either 30, 40 minute. You can do arms too. So, I get, 25-pound dumbbells, and I put it on the back, and then on a 30-minute workout, they stop for 5 minutes, and then, you do upper body. So
Holy, this Joel, he's ripped. If he takes that shirt off, man, look out.
Yeah, just why I probably
Arnold
need a wider
Schwarzenegger, eat
screen
your heart
here.
out.
But I've been laying off the pool. Man, because it's just the way Michigan's a little bit worse than the rest of the place. So I've been laying off.
Toronto just shut down last week, though,
Yeah, I know.
lockdown. So I mean, you're starting to see it spread even up here. So I mean, it's coming. It's coming. Now, there's not as much fear up here, but it's coming. So, anyways, 8:36.
We got our guest here, Joel Kulina, head of technology and media trading at Wedbush Securities. Joel, good morning.
Yeah, morning, guys. I do take offense to the New Jersey comments there. I grew up 20 minutes from Piscataway. So
yeah, me too, Joel. Me too.
Wait a second. What exit?
I'm 8A. I'm 8A on the turnpike.
Wait, what town is that?
East Windsor.
My sister lives in West Windsor. Right?
I love Windsor.
That's the posher side of the tracks, I must say.
Yeah.
Wait, Joel, you're 8A. I'm 9.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you.
You guys could have went to the same school.
And I only made one Jersey crack, or did I make two?
You made one. It's fine. All right, Joel. What's on your radar this morning? We got another vaccine headline. Not as much of a pronounced trade, more of a muted reaction than the last 2 weeks. It seems like every week, every Monday, we get it's like a half of the previous week's reaction. This week's is pretty muted. But what's on your radar?
Yeah, exactly. I remember when the first Pfizer headline hit was that 2 weeks ago, I guess now, or maybe even 3. But clearly that caught a lot of people off guard, right? And the quants and systematic funds had to play catch up pretty quickly and aggressively. You're talking to a lot of guys when those initial Pfizer headlines hit. It was the worst P&L days for a lot of these long short funds. People were clearly off sides, not prepared. Now I think that's been guys have kind of been squared away a lot more as the weeks have progressed. In tech land, what kind of continues to jump out at me is semiconductor outperformance. The stocks is up 35% in the second half alone. That compares to the NASDAQ and S&P being up around 17-20%. And I think that trend continues. JP Morgan held their big Asian tech conference last week. And some of the big themes across, the board were continued tight supplies, tight constraints on the supply chain, improving pricing backdrop, and just really no imminent signs of inventory correction. And also, most importantly, Apple demand across the board seems like it's very strong heading into next year. So semis to me are still the group of stocks you want to own overall in tech, in my opinion.
I'm wondering, Joel, when you see days like that where there's like a big washout, like that Pfizer day 2 weeks ago, are there ripple effects like for the next couple of days? Like, I mean, we've been really tight since then. So I'm just wondering if there are like ripple effects when you see people get washed out like that, or a lot of people caught on the wrong side. Yeah,
I mean, not as much as you would think. Obviously you do see the big jump in volumes, and you, at least in my seat, kind of you get a lot of guys also a little bit of deer in the headlights effect. Some of the moves are so aggressive before the market even opens. And guys really just try to limit the bleeding and how can they kind of straighten out their P&L into day's end. But I think the key has been you're really not seeing any sense of panic like we did get back in March last year. I think people, a lot of the, especially the long short guys, performance year to date has been fantastic for a lot of guys that have struggled over the past several years as well. So what really was the case starting really coming out of the summer. Guys who have that more defensive kind of performance protection mindset. And so I think that helped ease and navigate a lot of guys through kind of that move and some of the aggressive rotation a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, not a ton of panic. Guys are really just trying to kind of, halt the bleeding of their P&L on days like that.
What about China here? I've been watching China this morning. It's up, right? Alibaba, as you noted this morning, and you're noting it's above its 100-day moving average for the first time in 3 weeks. It's been weak. It's turning this morning. Other names have been hot. The EV names, obviously. What are your thoughts on China here, and Chinese tech specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Alibaba, they've been hit by two things. You had the regulators cracking down on Ant Group IPO, which that was a big part of the story, and a lot of faster, short, near term money was in Alibaba in anticipation of the Ant Group IPO. So that was clearly a disaster 2-3 weeks ago. Then you had the increased regulations on just on more financial fintech kind of related operations, which weighed on tech. So what I've been seeing is money going to names like Tencent, JD, Pinduoduo is kind of another e-commerce play for the lower tier cities in China. But again, what Alibaba really jumps out at me. It feels like the stock has been de-risked enough at this point, and a lot of that short-term money is out of the name. If you get a close above that 100-day tonight, I think you want to buy it tomorrow morning and let it ride well north of $300. It's still a great story. They're making a lot of traction on the cloud side of things, and still when it comes to e-commerce, there's no one better than Alibaba.
What about, Joel? What about the Ant Financial IPO? Is this dead? Is it dead, or is there still a chance here?
I think there's still a chance, but what that actually looks like in terms of valuations, a completely different question. I haven't read anything probably in about, really since early last week about it. And because it's China and the regulators can really do whatever they want, there's still a lot of hesitant for now guys to put numbers on what it could actually look like without getting more concrete information. So playing Alibaba on assumptions of what the Ant IPO may look like is probably a bit premature. But I think overall the company, like I said, from an e-commerce point of view, logistics, they are still, king of the hill over there. So I think.
Hey, what happened here, guys? What happened? Something happened here.
You're right. Yeah, we just fell on the S&P futures. Sorry, we just dropped about 10. Is there news? Is it 8:30? No, or 8:42. Yeah, something did happen.
Yep.
Joel's right. That was a serious fall there.
Yep. Yep.
Just
A little bit of a bounce here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Joel.
Yeah.
You see that.
Let's take it back to China, though. Did you follow the Muddy Waters YY report, and what are your thoughts if you did? Obviously, I don't need specifics, but I mean, they hammered the stock, saying that up to 90% of the revenue might be fraudulent. I mean, this was
we've been down this path before, and they obviously had some winners in some of their calls as well. Now, a few guys that I talked to that are more deeper in the weeds in Chinese tech, they think that the report's misguided and misleading a lot, and so they're getting some kind of they're not reading well some of the data points they picked up on. So I actually had some guys who are holders of the stock were actually buying, using the weakness as a buying opportunity. Mm-hmm. It seems like time will tell, right? I mean, we had I remember who was it? Jim Chanos was back in March saying that all Chinese tech companies are fraud, kind of after the Luckin disaster. So I think people are kind of now just a little bit more guarded with some of these companies. But again, unless there's actual foolproof evidence of fraud, people are a lot less hesitant to kind of just blindly follow some of these short seller calls, which seem to be increasing a lot more frequently nowadays for whatever reason. Obviously, Hindenburg was going after Nikola, and Citron's been making a little bit of noise of late as well. So, guys kind of just took it with a little bit of a grain of salt. I think the bigger problem with a name like YY and some of these other platforms over there are signs of deceleration of their subscribers and their viewership growth, and that's clearly the key to the story. So now you get Muddy Waters just kind of coincides with a pretty squishy report as well. So it's kind of a double whammy.
I could have sworn that I dreamt this, but the headline that just came across the wires was that the White House is weighing new actions against China. I thought that was out there already. Maybe
I did see. It's funny we're talking about China. I did see China actually took a major hit, and then it actually bounced all the way back. So you saw liquidity just vanish basically.
Again, maybe I dreamt that
in the morning.
I could have sworn I saw that yesterday.
I believe that was the headline though, because I did notice China took a brunt and then they've bounced. Like Alibaba even I believe went red very quickly there, Joel, this morning, and it just bounced back. So
that's still out. I'm sorry, Joel, go ahead.
No, sorry, that's it. Yeah, the headline Dow Jones just hitting Bloomberg right now. Yeah, so it's the solid red headline on Bloomberg is Trump weighing new sanctions against Beijing. So nothing new there.
Late, Bloomberg late to pre-market prep by about what?
We had this.
Like a half hour ago.
Spencer dreamt it last night.
Is that blue? Yeah, Spencer dreamt it last night. I caught it. What are they?
Dreams.
What are they on a delay, or did they dial up or something? We're on the line with Joel Kulina. He's head of technology, media trading at Wedbush Securities. Just a couple other things I wanted to touch on here. One with the 3 weeks ago, the pop and the sell. 2 weeks ago, the pop and the sell. You talk to the street, you talk to the money managers. It's just kind of thing like, get me through 2020. I want my, get me my bonus. I don't know what's going to happen. Things are going to change in the White House. I don't know who's going to be in control of the Senate. I mean, is it just kind of like, man, just, I want my bonus. I'm going to sell these rips. Do you feel that? Because we are 100 points off that high. Is that mentality out there, or is that just something I make up?
No, I think you're 100% right. And that's kind of what I was touching on earlier. You really do see a lot of the portfolio managers out there just have more of and they're in performance protection mode. And why not? Like you said, if performance has been this good, some of the moves year to date have been off the charts, staggering, as we all know. With that said, we've also seen some pretty good stocks get de-risked over the past, 3 to 4 weeks, mainly names that have been benefiting from COVID and lockdowns and whatnot. Just a group like, e-commerce, right? Like names like Etsy, Wayfair, Chewy, they've all had decent pullbacks off their highs. They're starting to kind of come back a little bit, which to me is really reflective of names and companies and themes that people still want to own heading into 2021. So that's where I've seen the most tactical guys being aggressive and adding in names they really like I said, e-commerce, select semiconductors, and really just kind of going out that way. But there's a lot more hesitancy towards the Zooms of the world, Peloton, the true story stocks of 2020, which have just kind of blown off the doors. That clearly, I think software, especially in cloud, these companies are going to face serious comps in 2021.
Joel, at what point does valuation matter on these stocks, the story stocks like the Pelotons, the Zooms, the Chewies, the e-commerce stories that have just been carried through 2020? Obviously, valuation on these things looking like 1999 style on some of these companies. At a certain point, it doesn't matter when the story's hot, but at a certain point, doesn't it matter eventually?
And I think that's what kind of the market's been telling us on some of the pullbacks. I forget, I think the week prior, both Peloton and Zoom fell 20%. Last week, they both, reclaimed about 10% of those losses as well. So I think some of the de-risking and pullbacks we're seeing is starting to say, clearly some of these moves are overshooting to the upside. I mean, there's going to be a lot of demand for people to get out. And I think a company like Zoom especially is probably most at risk as we return to normalcy, whether that's second half of 2022, I don't know. I just can't see how these companies can maintain these growth the growth can remain sustainable, and you're going to see the multiple drop eventually. So I think those are kind of two examples that people are definitely a little bit more fearful of chasing up here, and you are seeing the rips being sold.
Just going back to before the White House interrupted our show, you were talking about China in the the emerging markets. I mean, it has not been the place to be for like the last 100 years or so. And you think that finally the emerging markets here, it's going to be the place to be and not in U.S. So, I mean, we could still go up and maybe not go up with the rate. And if so, besides China, what emerging markets are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they throw it in the emerging market camp, but we know that a lot of the Asian markets have underperformed everyone's underperformed the U.S. But you look at China. I mean, not China, Japan. I mean, that ETF Nikkei broke out. Maybe 2 weeks ago now, and it's just been blue skies above. So I'm looking over there. Look at names exposed to kind of robotic automation processing trends, which continues to accelerate. Or names like Sony, right? Sony, not only do they have the gaming exposure. On the semi side, they do image sensors as well, which is obviously seeing exponential, component growth with the new 5G handsets and just the more cameras on all our devices. So I think Japan's very interesting. And look at some of the export data overnight out of South Korea. Again, autos, semiconductors, and handsets at the top of that list, driving the strength over there. So names kind of like, Samsung, Hynix, obviously plays on the memory recovery as well, which I expect at some point next year in 2021. But I think that's definitely more interesting, is what kind of comes up most in my conversations, versus still Europe is still, viewed as somewhat diseased. Brexit's still an issue in the UK as well. So I think you're seeing a lot of investors kind of skip over that kind of part of the world, at least in the near term.
Joel, last one for you real quick. You mentioned you watching the outperformance in the semis. Is there a particular name you like in the semis?
I mean, easy names to own, buy and hold. I think ASML to me. So they're on the semi cap side and they do the EUV technology. To me, they're just the right exposure to the right trends. AI, data center. They benefit from increasing chip complexity, continued migration to leading edge, and also just really increasing competition between the foundries. Really Taiwan Semi and Samsung at the top of that. Samsung announced last week they're going to invest $116 billion into new generation chips with EUV tech. That's ASML. And then really on the handset side, Qualcomm and Qorvo are my top plays there. And I still think you'll see 5G super cycle take hold and builds continue to exceed our expectations. And I'm going to think you're going to see estimates continue to rise for the wireless plays.
Hey, Joel, before we let you go, Spencer and I are going to be off for the holiday on Thursday. And Dennis is going to do the show, being in Canada, and you're in Toronto. So I was just wondering if you'd be available to work with Dennis. You don't have, all you have to do is say
trying to make me
hello.
work every holiday.
You say hello at the beginning and then goodbye at the end, and then you're in good shape. But Joel, great information.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll let you know on that. I'm obviously I'm off for the U.S. Thanksgiving too. So. But I love the show, guys. And today I follow downtown Josh Brown on Friday, so that's pretty. I feel special for that. So
Joel Kulina, as we mentioned, he's head of media and tech trading at Wedbush Securities. Joel Kulina, thanks so much for the time.
All right, guys, be good. Thanks.
All right,
Thanks,
let's do some ticker time here, guys. Some questions from the chat. Let's start with ticker Unity Software. Good old fashioned breakout on Friday. We are at all-time highs now in Unity.
Love the chart. Absolutely love it. It's up $1. I don't even know. Like I'm not in it. I want to be in it. So I'm actually going to write this one down. It's the one I've been watching for a bit. I did not notice the breakout. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I mean,
don't thank me. Thank whoever in the chat. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
who it
it's
was.
a story stock. That could get hot. So I like it. I think it's going to go.
What do they do?
Doesn't matter.
Nope.
They're in software, technology, and
Cloud.
they only have one letter, so they must be important.
Oh yeah, we'll go back to our letter show. One
Streaming play.
I did you read Gene's note over the weekend? I forgot to look at it. He was
Unity Software. To be honest, as a pure technical call on my part, I actually don't know exactly what they do.
Sorry.
I can tell you what they do. They're a streaming play. They're like a gaming streaming
cross-platform game engine developed by Unity.
125. That's your pre-market
3D projects for games, animations, film, automotive. So it's a gaming and 3D play. That's pretty cool.
125. That's all you can say. Pre-market high. I mean, that's it. That's all you can say.
I like it. I might actually try to buy this today.
Other things like when stocks get in this kind of mode, if you're looking for potential targets just on a day, look at the 9-day average trading range to get an idea. This one looks like it had a big range on Tuesday, couple smaller ranges on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday expanded a little bit. So if you want to, if it looks like it bottoms early and takes off, then use that as a potential target. Since some of your quants will use to take short-term targets, or I don't know if anybody's shorting the stock, but nice looking chart there. Unity Software.
You're the only one that short stocks anymore, Joel.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
No, I don't.
No.
I still short stocks. I still stay hedged, but I tell you, I'd be doing a lot better this year if I didn't have any shorts, except for March. March was pretty good for the short.
S&Ps, we took the dip, but we're not really bouncing back here. Like
we dipped, we ripped, and now we dipped again. I don't know this headline. It's spooky.
Another Monday.
If you do go look, China. I did see, China sell off initially some of the Chinese stocks on it, and I've seen.
What's he going to do between? I mean, what's going to get done between now and then?
Nothing.
I mean, I don't understand.
Oh, I don't know. He can do anything. He's still in charge, right? So maybe he is going to do some stuff. He's still trying to win the election, Joel. So, I mean, Trump doesn't think he's out of it. I mean, everybody says he's out of it. I don't know. I'm just going with what everybody says. That there's no way, there's no path to victory here. But Trump does not think he's out. There's no concession speech coming imminently, I don't think, here.
Back to ticker time. These are tickers I've written down throughout the hour of our show. What about fuel cell? Huge breakout last week.
Oh my. It's storied right now. So you cannot be short stories. I mean, the thing got downgraded by JP Morgan and they laughed at it and they kept rallying it. So these things eventually break and then they fall and then they usually don't come back. But I mean, we don't know when that's going to happen. And Ballard Power, which I'm kicking myself, was 16 and a half. And I was like, this is looking ready to go. And then I stopped looking at it for a day and it was 18. So now it's 1950. I mean, this is one that's taken off here too. Obviously, Plug Power. I always had the three of them together: Plug, Ballard Power, and Fuel Cell, FCEL. Fuel Cell's always been the laggard. And for whatever reason, 3 weeks ago, they decided, this was the one. And not even 3 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. And it's been breaking out and it hasn't looked back since. I mean, we've seen Fuel Cell rallies in the past and they always seem to end badly. But I mean, this one is still hot. So you can't short them when they're hot. You got to wait till they have at least some ugly candle. And there's no reason to, think that this can't go higher. I'm not chasing it here. I do believe the story ends badly at the end of it all, but I'm not going to try to call a top.
Do you know who Plug Power's two biggest customers are?
No idea. Although the CEO was on our show, so I probably should have. I just remembered back to what the CEO said.
Joel, enlighten us.
Amazon and Walmart.
Those are good customers.
Yeah. And take a look at your Barons. They did something pretty smart.
Well, they did.
They gave Amazon owns a lot of stock in this company. They do.
Power?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. They gave them some warrants. I don't know if they did that with Walmart or not. But yeah, and they're cheap. They're because they're for their dollies or whatever run on that. And yeah, take a look at your Barons.
Kramer plugs this stock once a week, pun fully intended. PLUG. I mean, if Kramer keeps plugging it, it pops a buck every time Kramer on Mad Money gives it. I mean, he brings the CEO on, it seems like, every other week. So he is like, until you get Kramer off this bandwagon, this is like a Kramer-induced rally and plug-in, in my opinion. It really is. He has continued to just pump the stock and pump the stock and pump the stock. And, and he gets on a story, and that's what Roy Kramer does. And, it's worked well for his listeners on this one because the stock has continued to go higher. I thought he topped it out back when it was 18, and then it leaked a little bit, but, the story got hot again, and Kramer continues to make it hot by continuing to talk about it. It seems like every week he features this company or he's talking about it on Mad Money. So you get a TV personality that's widely followed from the Robinhood crowd. It can continue to drive price. And, here's a stock making new highs again. We're not going to say all-time highs because we know Plug Power back in the early 2000s was a lot higher than this. But the story is very hot right now. The fuel cell story is hot right now. Ballard Power, Plug, FCEL, all still look like, they still want to go higher.
What about oil rallying while this thing is taking place too?
That's reopening trade.
Okay.
That is a pure reopening trade. The oil rally is all reopening. So it's all vaccine because we know, you're getting dinged. There's less travel, less gasoline use. Oil stocks, all reopening stocks. And this is, obviously how caught a little bit of a bit, even though, they seem to leak it during the week. We get this gap up every Monday morning and oil's up here again this morning. And that's no coincidence. That's due to vaccine news. So oil stocks are a reopening play. At least for now.
Yeah, crude up again today, up 47 cents, coming near the top of the trading range here. So boy, oh boy, let's see those monthly highs in crude. I mean, of course, the rolling contract always makes this fun to deal with technically, but 44.55, that was your high in August. September 44.18. So maybe set your sights. Maybe we got 43 as a potential target here in the crude oil market.
I just want to do a couple more from the chat quickly.
Sure.
Salesforce up $4 this morning. Got a price target raise. I believe it was Jeffries. They're raising the price target to $320 from $285.
It's just been hanging out doing nothing. I mean, eventually Salesforce probably, like I call him the godfather of the cloud. I mean, probably, you're coming into seasonality where December is usually a good month for stocks. I don't want to be short CRM for that reason, but it's just kind of just hanging out. It hasn't done much. I mean, maybe it's because it's a bigger company, but some of these other cloud names have really went, and CRM just kind of sits there. So I don't know. It's waiting to go. Maybe eventually it does go.
I don't know. I kind of got a level here. I like. I mean, it's going back over some time here. Going back. Whew. Well, let's see what this high. It looks like it's getting above this area here. No. 270. Let's call it 272. You had a little bump, 271.75. Just missed it here. What's this high here? That's still quite a ways away. 271. Let's just call it 270 to 272. I mean, when you gap up, make a high like that to come back down, and then you could see after the sellers tried to wiggle out at 272 here, it didn't work out. To try to wiggle out at 272 here, it didn't work out. So let's see.
Show us your charts.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did hit the share on that. Yeah, just keep an eye on it. I mean, it's a higher price stock, and you're still $8 away for it. But if you're looking for a target, let this gravitate to, 270, 272 area.
And then we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that crypto stocks are once again ripping this morning. PayPal, Square, Mara, all of them are up. So
where's that Mara? That one's just going.
Our acknowledgement of
that Mara looks like it's ready to go. I mean, this crypto rally is not going away. I almost feel like I got to chase it. I'm like, I never say chase. I want to chase Bitcoin. That's how much I want to own Bitcoin, and I missed it, with the GBTC. But Mara's a way to play it. I mean, I don't know if that's a long-term way to play it, but short term.
I wouldn't.
Wow, look at that.
And that one looks like it could go too. I mean, we talked about Mara on this show a couple weeks ago. It's gone up since then. It's probably gone up significantly since then because it was only a $2 stock, and now it's a $3.70 stock. But
yeah, just last.
I think you could challenge that $5 on Mara. If this crypto rally continues, they're going to try to they'll find other ways to play it. Ride blockchain's probably going to be the same thing. It looks like it's a consolidation station to go higher. Hate the company. I think that I'm not a fan of changing your name and changing and just chasing things. But I mean,
which one was this? What was Riot?
Riot didn't do that.
Yeah, they did. They changed. Well, it was Long Island Iced Tea that changed the long blockchain, but Riot was something else before too. Before Riot blockchain.
Okay.
It was they put the blockchain name in there. They're trying to get the buzz. I don't like that. You got the hot thing, and then you're going to put your name and change your name to have it in there. Long Island Iced Tea, that changed to long blockchain, and the stock exploded, which was just ridiculous. Riot changed to Riot blockchain. I don't like it when they do stuff like this. A couple of years ago, I don't like it when they do stuff like that. But I mean, that stock chart of Riot actually looks pretty good. It looks like it wants to go again.
Kodak should have changed their name because remember they were crypto for a hot second, but I don't think that worked out for them.
What about Jemiah? I think I talked about this last week. Did I not, Jemiah? I bought it on the dip, and I bought this perfectly in my swing account. I think I've talked about it last week. I can't remember, but I bought it back at like $13.
Wow.
I've doubled my money here in 7 trading sessions. I mean, that's the fastest double I think I've had in a long time. If I don't even know, like when we had Workhorse might have doubled faster than Mitch Peck, but this Jemiah move has just been unbelievable. I bought it because Andrew left and Citron. I was looking for it, and we know Andrew left came out and said he thought the stock would go to $100. That was when the stock was like 18, 19, and then it had the significant sell-off. I don't even know why it sold out those 3 days. I don't know what the catalyst was. I didn't even look into it. But I was like, well, Andrew left was bullish. I was like, this is a significant dip on a storied stock, JMIA, and it could get hot again. And it's been straight up. I sold a piece Friday, just to basically take out most of my initial capital. So now I'm completely playing with the house's money. It's unbelievable. In 7 days, the stock has doubled.
This was a monster pick a long time ago. Even long before.
I think I'm going to hold on to the other half. I think I'm completely playing with the house's money, and like now because I took out my initial cost basis in 7 days. I mean, this is unbelievable when you get moves like this.
I've noticed Gemini gets a lot of like midday CNBC love, like mid-afternoon CNBC love. So
the stock's up every day. I mean, it's up 10-15% every day. It's been unbelievable. I don't know if you can chase it now, but you get a pullback here. There's a lot of people who want to be in this stock. So I don't know if you're eventually going to have a wicked sell-off. I mean, it's not that easy. Stocks just don't double, and they don't have any pullbacks at all. It needs a pullback. I think if it pulled back, I might reload. But anyways, like I said, I've still got a piece. I still held a piece of Fubo. I still held a piece. I'm taking out my initial cost basis on these stocks, and now I'm completely playing with the house's money on some story stocks, which is fun. When you can never lose on them if you don't reload. So, I mean, that's not a bad way to play it. Sometimes you double your money in 7 days, take half out, play with house's money.
All right, that's a wrap here for us. Thanks to our guest, Joel Kulina. Thanks to all of you in our chat. There's the YouTube chat, there's the Benzinga.com chat, and the Benzinga Pro chat. We appreciate all the comments, all the super chats. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Show us some love, show us some support. We appreciate that. You can catch a replay of this on YouTube or on every major podcast platform as well. You can also email us, premarket@benzinga.com. Please remember that all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes only, not for investing or trading advice. I think I messed that up, but that's okay. You get the point. I say it every day. That's it for us. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Joel and I will be back at 3:40 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, everyone, have a good day, good luck, and wherever you are, stay safe.